So now if you want to change the scale and proportion of your textile design pattern, you need to select the layer mask, which is the black square, and then unlock it. After unlocking your mask layer, select your textile pattern and then click the scale rotation tool that is on the top left of the toolbar, the second one down, to change the scale, rotation, and distortion of your textile to however you would like it. When finished, click back onto your mask layer and then click the lock button that's on the right toolbar. Say if you want to fill in a color of your outfit with a solid color, you need to duplicate your outline layer. So by doing that, you click the three dots on the bottom right and select Duplicate Layer. By double tapping on the layer, you can change the name to that layer. Now say if your magic wand or quick selection tool won't select the area of interest, you can use the lasso tool to outline that area in that new layer you just made. So for me, mine's skirt. So you're going to use your Apple Pencil and drag it around that area to create the shape that you want to fill in. It's really important to make sure when using the lasso tool to connect your line at the end to make a shape. If you want to select a color that's already in your clothing design, use the eyedropper tool to select that color. Once you've selected your color, you're going to select the paint bucket tool and select the area that you want to fill. Once you've filled in your area, you can click deselect that will appear at the bottom of your screen, and then you can select the eraser tool that's on top of the paint bucket and begin erasing the edges of the skirt. Now what we want to do is select a color for our background. So you're going to go to your background layer and then select the paint bucket tool or use the eyedropper to select a color of your choice and then click the background to drop that color. If you want to do a gradient for your background, you're going to click the paint bucket and then the drop down you'll see the gradient icon. You will select two colors using the color palettes in the bottom left of your toolbar to create an ombre, or we can say a gradient effect. So whether it's from dark to light or colors that are in contrast of each other with saturation, totally up to you. You would drag a line in that area on your Photoshop screen to create the direction of where the gradient will go. So it could be really anywhere from top to bottom, side to side. It can be diagonal, your choice. Once we have our background color, we want to create a new layer. By doing this, you're going to click that plus sign and select new layer. You might want to rename this new layer Details. What we're going to do is use the brush tool or whatever tool you wish to add different types of designs and embellishments to your final clothing design. I like to use the brush pen tool just because it's simple, it's easy, and it goes along with the aesthetic style of my design. Once you have created your detail layer, you want to make sure that you move your detail layer to the top of all of your other layers by dragging it, only because your details are going to appear on top of your clothing design. Say if you want to add the original contour lines that you have in the sketch of your clothing design, what you can do is simply make that block of color invisible, so that's my skirt layer, and make my sketch of dress layer visible, so I can see my original lines. While still being in my detail layer, I will begin to use the brush pen tool to add my final lines. Once I finish, I'm going to make my skirt visible and my sketch of dress invisible. Now, say if you want to add some line design or texture to your background, what you want to do is create a new layer and change that layer name to background 2, whatever works best for you. Then what you can do is begin to experiment with different brushes that Photoshop has to offer. So now you'll just see that I'm beginning to experiment with different types of brushes and textures that Photoshop has. Now, it's totally up to you. You can use whatever brush you want. You can even create a design in your background if you want. Once again, this is your work. You're the textile designer. You can change the colors, you can change the brush size, you can change the opacity level by selecting the color, and a bar will appear to the right side where you can drag it up and down to change the opacity level. So that means really how transparent the color is, how see-through it is.